As long as you don't get in my way, mind your business.
Ngiyazela isithembu so James ngakufaka nawe.
What comes first? Is it the chicken or is it the egg?
Thank you so much for making the time. I know it's hectic. I spent 5 days on Scrambled Eggs. 1 minute I was a rock star, 1 minute I was a hip hop star, 1 minute.
I remember thinking when I started in electronic, got exposed to the world, strategized for commercial in South Africa, and saying that I'm going to bring them back to where I come from.
Spice and I'm hot like ice. I'm tea, I'm nice, and I smell high price. I climb new heights and I rise like rice. I roll the dice and I take your life. I eat, I eat, I eat. I eat, I eat, I eat. I eat, I eat, I eat. Your beat, your beat, your beat. I'm a walking real good body, and I make a lot of money. Yeah, I make a lot of money, and that's some pure honey. It's all the troubles, honey, and chasing summer's money. I do not flex my body, I'm stable, that's don't worry. I got God-given cushion and some God-given pushing. It's your God-given duty to appreciate my booty. I got God-given cushion and some God-given pushing. It's your God-given duty to appreciate my booty. The love me fish in my zone. Ingwala moya kwa dini. Kichinji mali kasheya. Sudlala ngami kodini.
So in my ear, there's something that Stava told me. He's like, yo dog, like you hear music differently. Like it's hard for anyone to jump onto your stuff because you hear something else and it's like I'm finding it sounds cool, but I don't know where to place myself, you know. And it was just like, oh, that's dope. And I've never realized this. So with regards to the rock elements, that could definitely be the way I hear and how I hop on. Like I'll play a gospel song, but I'll find a rock beat within all of that. Or I'll find you'll be dancing to the same piano song, but I found some other instruments that's making me dance different. So I look around me and it's like, it just happened in Sunday Rose actually. I was dancing, I'm like, hi man, these people are not listening to what I'm listening to. Then I stopped to watch how they're dancing, to hear how the song sounded like in everyone's ear. So I remember actually even hearing the beat. It gave me a very 8 Mile scene, you know, like there by the bridge, the jacket, the hoodie, exactly. With Eminem walking. It gave me that feel. I don't know what element of the beat takes me there. It sounds fun too, you know, and you can definitely not play with me and my pen.
I started with the song with the video, and I was like, no, wait, maybe my excitement is coming from the visual. Let me not watch the visual, and then when you don't watch the visual and you just listen to the song, you're dancing way more because now it's the rhythmic element of it. But now the video.
I'm glad you're finding all these elements.
That video. That's one of the smartest concepts in terms of you brought it so close to us. I'm a shop, I'm a Pakistan. And Sonke, we all have a story with an episode with Pakistan. Either we love him or we hate him.
The people that came up with the concept, in fact, were Utabu Newman and Nkosi Khumalo, who was the producer of the show. Utabu was the director. And they just, you know, when you're just like, you don't have to explain your world to anybody, and they find like the person who makes music for their world, where they lives creatively. And for instance, even the stylist I love, Chloe Andrea, I know with her there's levels of trust where I'm like, we live in the same world, and she's in the fashion, the image one. Just being able to get your tribe, like Utabu and Kosi were the ones who come up with this concept, which was freaking ridiculous because, in fact, the producer also loved me from back in my alternative days. So it's just so crazy. It's full circle fully. And working with Scrambled was the best thing. A lot more surprises that I've got in store. It's just so elite for me, and it's one of those things where you know personally, like the intentions of how you're moving, and when it comes full circle without you having been counting time or Do you know what I mean? Putting pressure on like, oh, this is gonna be the specific strat. It's just like putting it out there and just working. It always forms itself, and it'll always be done. And then you write another one, and it's full box tick.
I'm seeing that. What is it that keeps setting you apart? I want to hear it from your side. What is it you're seeing that's setting you apart from all other artists?
I believe my fearlessness. I operate fearlessly. I'm aware of my power, my abilities, and I'm open to abilities that I don't know of yet. But one thing I know about myself is I believe in myself. I believe in my creativity. I know my art is my space. And if I had to let people be a part of my space with regards to bullying, how I'm supposed to maneuver my art, I'm still in a prison. It's just my one is colorful, but I'm not necessarily free. So being able to carve a genuine, like an authentic brand from you believing in yourself first and knowing that it's definitely more like me. And unfortunately, a lot of the times you have to kiss frogs to get your ultimate. And if you are one in a million and you're meant to do it, nothing will ever break you, because if they take and strip you off anything, they'll never strip you off the music. That is the one that started making you the money for you to go again. So once you know there's nothing that can break you and you're just so free and able, and you also expose yourself and did enough research to know that there's other markets and there's other territories where home is not necessarily your base. You can come from the space, and that will be the spice for your way of expression in general. But I think the biggest thing is fearlessness and knowing who the hell you are.
I love that, and I think that the timing for the drop of the song could not have been more perfect. We've just, South Africa celebrating 30 years of their democracy, and this brings me to my next point. You've always been an advocate for the fact that, guys, we equal. And the video speaks to that. You know, you have taken the stereotype out of our thinking. The macho guy is the Pakistani guy. Now the girls that are all over the show, you've been an advocate for female power, and this video still speaks those notes. How do you see your influence? I know young people are much more open-minded in South Africa, at least that is, towards sexuality and all of that.
I see it on the daily. I see it even just in the industry. From when my first video, and I had girls, we were the ones who were dancing like it's a man's video, and they said, no, we are disrespecting women. And I'm like, but we are the women. We are the women. It's a women's song. And now where things are more acceptable on TV, because the kids don't give two, you know? And these are the kids that also are brought under your music. These are the kids whose parents were like, whose parents were open. You know what I mean? Yeah. These are the kids who probably are definitely not even interested in sex, but just own their bodies. Because a lot of the times people seem to get it twisted that if it's hidden. And the thing about it is, I'm not talking with regards to with age appropriation and stuff. If Beyonce can exist, so can I, because it's literally in the cards. When you speak in hindsight, but if Nicki Minaj can exist, Moonchild can exist.
Absolutely.
And no South African puts them under the banner of promiscuity and all that jazz. And then it's going to be conventional. For instance, if you see a Moonchild twerk, because she's in a leotard, it's ratchet. But if you see a Makati twerk, because it's traditional regalia, it's traditional. So it's all how people choose to view it when it's closest to them. And I shout out to the parents that just let their kids listen to music innocently. I was singing lyrics innocently. I was a virgin throughout all of my high school, but I would definitely dress the hell up because my mama didn't allow me to not own my body. You know, so it's like all the things that kids get curious about because of that fear of the conversations not existing at home. To say, don't do this because this is how it is in the world, or don't do this in this space, or whatever. Or do you, my child, I'll get you security, I'll teach you karate so that you can handle yourself in the world. Instead of empowering the kids with the realities that are going to exist, and maybe starting a conversation by actually just talking about what makes you uncomfortable about Moonchild dancing there, when right after that you're watching a Beyonce concert.
I have to ask you this. There is the Beyonce twerk, there is the Nicki Minaj twerk. We need to come up, because I'm now finally, I can finally say, I can now identify a Moonchild twerk. You need to come up with a name for that. What is it about the Moonchild twerk. And South African brothers, they know what I'm talking about. There is something about the Moonchild twerk.
I don't know. I think it's the Xhosa thing because to be fair, I started twerking doing traditional Xhosa dance in primary school, still not attached to sex. So maybe I'm just well practiced. And sometimes you're going to be a star. I mean, have you seen my shape? I'm not to buy nothing.
Now, you have went and carved something, most people don't know this. You've carved a great global footpath for yourself. And in South Africa, I think it's one of the things that make you stand out consistently. You strike me, it seems as if you are now at a level where you're setting the trend in terms of guys, or this is the sound that's going to be in right now. It's more towards this side. How have you done that, knowing how our country is? What is it for you that has been your recipe to keep making that global flavor just by being Moonchild Sanelly? I've never seen any other female, or in fact an artist generally across board, that is able to consistently always be ahead of the time and always just be on point with their music and your delivery and the global footprint that you've got. How have you mastered that?
Thank you. I think it starts with that thing of knowing. And once you know, you build towards the direction of where you're going. And I feel like it goes with the fearlessness. I mean, me not signing in South Africa or to majors was because I always knew that my creations are global. And one of the defining moments for me to even know that the international thing is the real thing for me was before I did the tail hair, which I patented after. And it was because I had red hair for at least like 7-8 years, and I was ridiculed in Durban the whole time. Like Durban, I wasn't the girl with red hair. I remember like people would even spit when I walk past, and some sarcasm, gothic, whatever. And I even named my fashion brand Moonchild Cultwear because of the playing on the ignorance. I was like, oh, and to find out later, actually, my following is pretty culty. and
pretty culty.
So yeah, I mean, even then, I was surrounded by a lot of creatives, especially in the underground scene. And remembering a range that I had done with a certain brand 2 years prior at an international hotel, I saw that on the song "Oh Nana, What's My Name," and I was like, no man, someone is watching me. Like I know my creations, I know my storyboard, and I knew I couldn't tell anyone around me. I just had to believe myself and figure out what's my next step, which was patent my hair before I meet my greatness, before they steal it again, because I know someone is watching, and therefore there's access. You know, those are one of those defining moments. But I'd already been in a space where I was rolling solo, and because I was different, I was making the sound that created Future Ghetto Funk between 2007 to 2009. I had no reference, there was nowhere to go, so I had to start creating my own sound. That's why even when I moved to Joburg, I mean, when I reached the ceiling in Durban, I was like, now it's fine. I wanted more. I wrote down that I'm going to come to Joburg, I'm going to make a mark, and then I'm going to move to London, New York, then Japan. And everything happened the way it happened, and I know that I'm not moving because our food is great, and I spend most of my time outside anyway. Can't relate to the weather and the load shedding anymore. Sometimes you don't switch on the lights and you think it's supposed to be dark, and it's like, oh man, that's trauma. But knowing, because when you know, even with people that come to assist you, they know what it is that you're looking for, so that they can start knocking at the right doors and not hope on while you're sweating.
Fantastic stuff. Scrambled eggs. I understood, and you know, you'll never know how lavish something is until you hear from Moonchild. Now, tell me about scrambled eggs. I mean, I'm on some lavish now. I'm thinking, is that lavish? Why scrambled eggs?
Scrambled eggs is because, like, you know, I've been traveling for so many years. I've been touring for so many years. First time touring, I had like 100 rand, you know. Living in Times Square, doing festivals and things like that, coming back and knowing I'm going again the next year, doing all the festivals and having like 200 for the week in a different country. But my hunger was always bigger than my appetite. always being able to just, like, once I started getting into the lavish hotels, then I'm seeing like, oh, so scrambled eggs is really a thing. And I loved scrambled eggs. And in PE, Evos were there. My aunt would give us like half to share with our siblings, and I always wanted to have my whole one. And with the eggs, you'd have to fry one egg because there's too many grandchildren, and my aunt is the only one buying food. So it was like a whole thing that's attached to just Evos scrambled eggs on your plate comfortably. And once I started being exposed to just this thing is a thing, when I was working on the music in Sweden last year, I was just making Evos scrambled eggs. It was just like Evos scrambled eggs. I eat Evos scrambled eggs. And I feel like that the rest of the song is really more about my flex, and my flex is not ching ching bling bling. My flex is more like we fly, we catch flights, we catch feelings, we leave them behind. And so it's like it's literally my I am that girl. That thing is literally like my life, you know. Ever scrambled eggs. Yeah, it's not a weekend away, get away, I just instead. Yeah, I try to eat Ever scrambled eggs every day.
I love how, you know, you're so full of metaphors, and you still probably write most, if not all, your music. Take me through that process. How important is that for you still?
I write my music, I write everything. Like, I'm probably one of the few people who get to do dance globally and writes with every genre stream of the crop. You'll find me in Berlin writing in a camp for Sony with the top hip-hop artists for all your favorite songs. You'll find me in Miami doing Afrobeats one. You'll find me in Ghana doing hip-hop one. You'll find me in Madrid doing, you know, all the genres. So even my collaboration sphere is very broad. Like, you'll find me speaking in Spanish with another collaboration. You'll find me speaking in Colombian with the Colombians. That's Justin Timberlake. That's my, like, you know. So I definitely am one of those girls who just like, I'm penning. I'm always penning. Always penning. And it's crazy that everything that I pen down is not like any other artist. They always want me to sing it because they can never hear any other voice outside of mine. I've got albums at least for the next 10 years that could just come up without me working. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm always writing. I'm pretty funny. Like, even when I type, my friends will be like, okay, so first of all, when I type, it's like a verse. In general, but it's a sentence. Number two, if you hear it in my voice, it sounds like a song. So if you're not used to me, you'll wonder, because a lot of the time I'm pretty punny. So yeah, like, as soon as one person, that's why they get me so much. Like, to laugh at how someone didn't catch something, because I'm not like, haha, I'm funny.
You've worked in so many different spaces. What's the one thing that you've noticed that they notice that we might not be noticing this? You must say, oh, but at home, they don't pick that up.
It's like this positive new wave. I'm light. And then you get into my image and it's just like, oh, this doll from Africa. And I am... if you know, okay, so here's an example I had years ago in France. I was doing this festival, and I stood on this piano, and this other couple froze, and I was like, hold up, DJ, guys, just because I'm from Africa, I'm not here to talk about the mountains and the valleys. We already got artists that talk about that. We've got such a high rate of HIV and AIDS that we love sex. I'm here to talk about our sex lives. And then they started dancing. You know, it was crazy. And then they took me for Italy, but then that festival closed. And funny enough, this year I had a sold out show in Italy, Design Festival. And you know, Design Festivals, like Design Festival top number 2 is Fashion Week, the Design Festival. So it was just meeting people who work in NASA. Going to ask someone, what do you do? I work in space. But these are the spaces that I get into by being myself. Yes, it takes a little longer because people are scared of being themselves, first of all. And it's scary to find someone who's fearlessly doing them, at least, let alone winning, being themselves, whatever things you try to do, and break them. Because it is what it is. Doing Scandinavian tours in stadiums that are filled by oppressed white people, and you come from a territory where your skin tone comes from oppression, and they're looking at you as freedom. Those are the most trippiest moments. Like, it's just, and they all vary, you know, vary in a point where I can't specifically say which country do I like the most. I'll say Australia for the energy. I'll say France for the attentiveness. I'll say, you know, it's so different. I'll say Sweden for I love their pop culture. I'll say it's so different everywhere. But there's one thing you can be consistent of is yourself, because you'll never question who loves you when you are, and you will never be wondering why you're rejected. It's because you are. Rather be loved for who you are than be loved for who you think they want you to be, because you have to maintain, and that's performance.
Jeez, I'm actually, you know what, man? There's more than just what we see. You are depth, right? So my second and last question to you: this song, is it part of a bigger body of work? And is the sound gonna be consistent? I know you are somebody who you're not scared to explore. Where should the song? You know, there's something about songs that take us somewhere. We either want more or we either want to question it. Where should this song take us? What should we expect?
The beginning of a new era. You need to put on your space hat, prof. It's about to be a moon ride. We're going off. And it's crazy. One of the questions that you asked will lead to the next. The answer is going to be answered very soon.
In fact, this whole conversation has been like that.
All I gotta say is brace yourself, buckle up, and get your solar hat because you're about to take off. You know the producer of Scrambled Eggs?
No.
It's Johan Hugo. He's done Moonchild Sanelly, Madonna, Britney Spears, Michael, Self-Esteem, Moonchild Sanelly.
Thank you.
MIA, Sandy Gold, basically.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, like I went to fish for this new era.
And you are able to fill crowds, something that a lot of artists are struggling with, to fill up venues and to fill it, to get crowds shaking. I feel and I love the fact that you're saying we're actually going off to somewhere else, and I'm just looking forward to the trip. Guys, Moonchild, like, I understand, like, I mean, Scandinavia is a conversation they've never seen a black person before.
Let me tell you something. The reason I've told you that because as you want to treasure it, like, and I'm talking about this day and age where we have the power to change everything. I always say that in capitalize, I'm not going to fight Mandela. When you talk about Mandela fights, most show us examples. I'm one of the faces.
You are very rainbowish, lots of colors, lots of textures, and I think you would have been proud.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm uniting. I unite everybody. Like, you'll see someone in Mexico singing along to a song in Kosa, and you're like, excuse me, but you're still going with the set, like, what? It's like, it's the craziest moments where energy transcends, and when you just light, you are. Another thing is when you respect and trust your team, there's a difference.
I love that.
You know, because it goes a long way. You need to be also motivating your team the way they motivate you. It's symbiotic, not this thing of thinking that you have to because I'm talented. No, it's not enough. You need to be buzzing as well. There's no way they're gonna buzz and then when are you late? First of all, one of the things crazy, we were doing this launch of the TV show, and the PR lady was telling us on time, oh my God, thank you to your team. You're the only person who's punctual, the only person who's emails. Just tell your team, I said that they are the best people to work with, because everyone else is operating on African time, and in the world there's no African time.
You know, I was early for this. I was very early for this conversation, because I was told that, listen, Lwazi, don't think that she'll be late. She'll probably be there 10 minutes before the show, and rightfully so, you were. Jeez.
So there's so many elements that contribute to also just your growth, your talent, your everything. Just minus one thing in the ingredient, and your cake doesn't bake. You know, so you need to be focused. You need to pull up all the steps. You need to do the most as well. Where your point says, that's it. We're not even telling you are going to take a break. We're just not going to put it on schedule because you will not say no. And that at the same time is great for grabbing opportunities. For instance, at Glastonbury 2 years ago, and I'm like, so I'm doing it for the second time, and this time around they've booked me for six different stages. So we're operating, but one of those things where it's like you have to work together. You have to work together. You must be able to leave when it's not working out, because if you get scared, this is how we get these tales of, no, they get my money. No, they do. They've cleared out my bank account thinking I was dying from malaria. I woke up again, and I've still got a banging team, but it took drugs and all these dramatic stories for me to rise, believe in myself, and still get to finally attract the right people. But it was through all of that. That's why you can't stop. You must never stop unless you weren't born for this.
30 years of democracy, Mzansi, you've made a global footprint. You know that there's a lot of people out here who are in the creative industry who say, but how can I do this, man? I mean, you know, and then another thing I must say, we've lost a lot of artists due to things like pressure, suicide, and all that. What is your last parting word or message to say, guys, listen, this is how you need to channel yourself for the next 30 years?
I think you need to just create this bubble of your dreams. And that bubble cannot be penetrated by anything negative. Even just the reality of just getting a job. Because when you get a job, you can accumulate, and therefore it's harder to leave for you to chase your dream because now you've got bills. There's always so many things. But there's always so many ways. If you're wanting to be a nail technician, go start sweeping at a nail technical studio, the top one you want to actually work with. If you want to be a chef, go waitress at the top restaurant you want to actually get your accolades for. So be focused in where you ultimately want to succeed, and no one can penetrate that bubble. Once you're in that bubble, it's like you're delusional, but your dreams to succeed in the ultimate, there's a level of delusionality that comes with it, and it doesn't matter what they say, because they'll literally be the same people that become your fans.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And how do people get hold of you? As much as I know you got, how does it feel to have more than 1 million? You got about 3 million people that are liking and following you on social media. How do you get that? I mean, what are your social media handles?
My social media handles are Moonchild Sanelly everywhere.
Fantastic.
And on Twitter, because I was stingy of letters, it's Moonchild.
Elon, I hope you're listening. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day. But most importantly, let's rock on. And I cannot wait to go to space with you. And I cannot wait for more of what's coming.
Thank you so much. Even me, I can't do it.
Thank you so much. Fantastic stuff, Sanelly. Thank you so much. It's been great.
It's been great. How do you have your scrambled eggs? Soft, medium, or hard?
Medium to stay safe.
Okay, sure.
What's the difference? Fantastic. Thanks a million. I'll put some Ava onto that too. Cheers. Wonderful stuff. Thanks. Cheers.
As long as you don't get in my way, mind your business.
So, James, not now.